here today with Florine Mark, successful entrepreneur and chairman of the WW Group, the largest franchisee of Weight Watchers International.
Well, I was a fat kid, fat all my life growing up. My mother said she bought my diapers in Lane Bryant, so you know how fat that was. And always did not like myself. No self-confidence, thought I was fat and ugly and stupid and dumb, all because I had a weight problem, which is so silly because you are not what you look like, you are what you are inside. And you know, the brains didn't change, and the goodness didn't change, and the nurture didn't change. It was just the fact that I was overweight, which made me change and made me feel terrible. So when I went to diet doctors, lost weight, gained weight, finally overdosed on diet pills, and once I did that, I ended up in the hospital, and the doctor told me, I'm not responsible for your life if you take any more of these amphetamines. Today they call them uppers.
Sure.
And I was hooked on those things, given to me by diet doctors. And it was very painful and hard getting off of them, and then I gained weight again. I gained 50 pounds 9 times in my lifetime. Wow. And lost it, so that's like almost losing 500 pounds.
Sure.
And I heard about this thing called Weight Watchers. It was in New York only, and I had to go check it out because I couldn't use diet pills anymore, so how am I going to, get thin? And
well, sorry, if you step back to 1966,
okay,
and you're sitting in the bed, overdose on diet pills.
Right.
What was going through your mind? When did you make that change? When you did decide to go fly out to New York and do it the
Well, I made that change when I'm the mother of 5 children. When my husband said, "Hey, honey, you really have to go to work. We need the money." And I said, "Really? Who's going to hire me? I'm a size 20. I'm so big. No one's going to hire me." And then I heard about Weight Watchers, and that's when I decided I'm going to go. I was very lucky. My mother and dad were just wonderful to me. They came in and took care of my children. I went to New York, and I only to lose weight. All I wanted to do was lose weight. And then I was going to go back and get a wonderful job. I'm a marketer. I want to do television. I want to do radio. I am a writer. I wanted to go work for a newspaper. So, that was all set. And when I got there and I saw what was happening, and I went back 4 times, I lost 40 pounds in 4 months. And they asked me if I'd bring this back to Detroit. And I said, God, that's great. I have a very fat family. They'll all come. Then I'm going out and getting a job. By this time, I was so full of confidence, and getting a job in radio, TV, or marketing, or whatever else. Well, after that very first meeting that I conducted in Detroit, and people came back the second time, class doubled, and they told me how great they feel and how it's changed their life, and for the first time in their life they're eating good food and they're not taking diet pills and they're losing weight, and I knew that this is what I wanted to do the rest of my life. By the way, the first thing I had to do was I had to go get some money to pay for this franchise. And I told them, what my business plan was. I was always goal-oriented, always made a business plan, a strategic plan, always way before those were buzzwords.
Sure.
And instinctively, I have a very good gut. And all I wanted to loan was $25,000. And they said, fine, we like the business plan, well, we think it's a go, but you have to bring your husband in to sign because we can't give it a loan to you. You're a woman, your husband has to. And I said, well, fine, goodbye, thank you. And I went to the parent company and I convinced them to loan me the $25,000 to pay them for their original franchise.
Wow. And
that's exactly what happened. And then it just started and it grew from there.
What was the biggest challenge? You alluded to it earlier. In the late 60s, early 70s, as a woman starting a business.
Right. I was probably the only one I knew, only one in the community. I mean, it was tough because my friends kind of deserted me a little bit, and, they would tease my husband and say, oh, look, now you can retire, your wife's making money. But, it was hard to understand why I was so driven and why I wanted to really work. And also it was hard Getting bank loans, once I started to become successful, I had no problems at all. I made a lot of friends. I helped other people get franchises in other cities, and when they decided that they wanted to move on, I was right there buying. I knew that in order to grow, I was going to be successful, and if I didn't grow, I'm going to be stagnant, so I was looking to get more franchises. By that time, all franchises had been sold. So I went out looking to buy other people out, which I became very successful at, and I was in 14 states, Weight Watchers, and one day the parent company came to me and asked me if I'd like Mexico, and I said absolutely. So I was in the country of Mexico. I took my children and moved there for a year and started the business.
What year was that?
Oh, about 20 years ago, 25 years ago. I branded myself because I felt that I'm accessible and I can walk down the street or go in a class and people can say, hey, Florine, how you doing? Or I'm having a problem, or what are you eating? And I like people and I like to talk back to them. So there was always a face in my company that somebody could talk to.
Looking back, do you think that's the number one reason for your success, because you did brand yourself?
I think it's a very big reason for my success. Recently, one of the hardest things that ever happened to me is I had a little adventure with cancer, and it was colon cancer. I went for a colonoscopy in 2 years instead of waiting 5, and he found a little teeny malignant polyp. And if I'd waited 5 years, I'd have been walking around with cancer in my body. Even before I had bought it with cancer, and even before there was a second husband that I lost, one to cancer and one to Lou Gehrig's disease. One cancer when I was in my 30s, and then Lou Gehrig's disease just recently. And I just feel that life throws you things, and you just have to get on. I mean, this is the only life you have.
You mentioned a couple different life-changing moments, first losing your husband to Lou Gehrig's and then going through a bout of cancer. How has that changed the way that you view your life, or even the way that you conduct business?
Well, I've always gotten up every single morning. I wrote a book called Talk to the Mirror, because I get up every morning and I look, and it's, by the way, you can get it. This is not a commercial, but you can get it on Amazon.com or Borders. And I look in the mirror and I look in my eyes. I don't look at the zit on my face or the bad hair day. And I say, good morning, Florine. Today's going to be a good one. And you can do anything you want if you want to do it bad enough. And all the things that come your way, you can handle it. Just for today, it's going to be a really good one, Florine. You can handle anything. And every day I get up and I convince myself it's going to be a good day. And I believe you are what you think about. If you get up in the morning and say, oh my God, it's going to be a bad day, everything's going to go wrong, that's exactly the way it'll happen. So I think that's part of it, how you get through days. Life is too exciting.
Stepping back over to the business side a little bit, looking back, in the life cycle of the company, what was the most difficult time for you, most challenging time growing the business?
Well, obviously it had to be the beginning, because I was the leader. I was the receptionist. I took the money. I did the class. I came home and did the books. I was the marketer. I did the public relations. I went to the bank. I was the bookkeeper. And raising 5 children. And I had a sister in a wheelchair that I gave half my business to, but also had to watch over her. And my family, it was, my kids, one of my daughters has 4 little kids. The others have had 3. And they always say to me, even after they've had their one, how could you have done it with 5 of us?
That was my next question.
How could you do it? Well, you know what? You just do. I had a wonderful time. They were great. I'd take them 5 grocery shopping. I would take them all over. 5 was easier than 1. 2 was harder. They were always fighting. 3, there was a middle guy. 4 was even better, but 5, everybody took care of everybody, and it was a lot of fun. So, I think that those were the growing years. Once I started to make money, and I was able to hire a bookkeeper, and I was able to hire more people to do classes, and I was able to hire a public relations person, I was able to hire a COO to, to do the business, the day-to-day business.